PayLess restaurants. We provide an inexpensive fine dining experience to underserved communities by utilizing multiple price innovations, and we hire and train local chefs, preparing them for high-paying jobs in the industry. The problem. This picture is the top 10 fine dining restaurants according to Yelp in the Los Angeles area. Now, if you're not from California or from the LA area, you may not know the significance of these neighborhoods, but these are all some of the highest income neighborhoods in Los Angeles and also the country. None of these are in underserved or low income communities. And on top of this, they'll have very high prices, somewhere in the range of $50 to $200 per meal. It's very much unaffordable for the majority of the local population. And on top of this, in terms of hiring opportunities, it's extremely competitive. You need an extensive resume and top of the line skills to get a job here. And even then, it's very difficult. Now, the inspiration for the solution to this problem came to me about a month ago. I bought a filet mignon from Ralph's for about $12, and I cooked it and I ate it. And afterwards, I realized that this steak that I just made for $12 was just as good as the steak I had had at my going away to college party, which cost me approximately $120. And from that, I realized that maybe somewhere out there was potential for a fine dining restaurant that didn't have the incredible price points that comes along with something like a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And thus came the solution: an affordable fine dining experience with an average meal cost of approximately $15, targeted for underserved communities. On the last two slides, we looked into how these restaurants were not in underserved communities. So we're going to be the first. On top of this, we're going to run a hiring and training program for local community members. So we're going to hire local, we're going to train them to become elite chefs, and then hopefully they'll be able to get higher paying jobs in the industry. On top of this, we'll be doing community outreach. We'll be doing weekly meals for families who cannot afford them in the community. So we're going to be doing free outreach for families in need. Now, to do all of these things, we need a lot of price innovations. First of all, we're going to utilize copycat recipes. It's a database with a lot of the recipes from popular restaurants, including popular fine dining restaurants. And it essentially is a much cheaper way of making those exact same meals with ingredients you buy from the store. Now, we're going to be doing that at scale. So we're going to be going to a lot of popular restaurants, figuring out the recipes that they use and doing them for cheap. Next, we have an employee training program. So instead of paying a sous chef and a head chef massive salaries, we are going to hire local and pay relatively low salaries, and we're going to run a training program that allows them to get high salaries at different restaurants. On top of this, we're going to be using bulk purchase and data analytics. So what this means is we're going to be looking at how many people are in our restaurant every week and what they're buying, and we're going to be using this information to scale our bulk purchasing, because bulk purchasing is a great way to get a lot of food for cheap. But if you buy too much, you have spoiled food that you can't use and you're just wasting money. If you buy too little, you have dissatisfied customers who can't get what they want. So we're going to use data analytics to hit the sweet spot in the middle. We're also going to utilize menu bargains. We're going to have some items on the menu that we sell for a solid markup, say something that we can make for $3, but we sell for $10. And then we can have something that we make for $21 and sell for $15, and we still make a profit on those two items because we're able to sell the very cheap thing for a slightly larger markup than the markdown we use in the other. And this will raise the popularity of our restaurant as a whole because we have all these great bargains on the menu. On top of this, we're going to be utilizing local substitutes. So a lot of fine dining restaurants use things like caviar from the Caspian Sea, right? We're not going to do that. We're going to utilize locally farmed caviar, and it's going to be maybe slightly lower in quality, but only a seasoned taste tester would notice the difference. And the price difference is much more important than the slight difference in quality that's essentially indetectable to the average consumer. Now, for our comparative advantage, we looked at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Olive Garden, McDonald's. Now, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse has very high prices. Typically, a meal there is anywhere between $50 and $100 at minimum. It can be a lot more than that. Their hiring is extremely competitive. It takes a lot of skill and an extensive resume to get hired there as a chef. And the quality is excellent. That's why people still go there despite the very high prices I already mentioned. Olive Garden is middle price. It's better than your typical establishment like a McDonald's, which we'll get to in a second. Hiring to cook there requires some experience, maybe some past experience in the kitchen at a restaurant. And the quality is solid. The breadsticks are good. Some of their pastas are good. People like it. It's not amazing. You go there for a birthday, maybe. McDonald's price is very low. It's extremely low. You get a bunch of Big Macs for basically nothing. Hiring is local. They hire a lot of high school kids. They hire a lot of people in their local communities who just need a job. Their hiring program is very much targeted to the same kind of community we're trying to target. But their quality is McDonald's. That's all I really need to say on that. PayLess restaurants, we have a low price. It's not very low because we're not selling Big Macs, but it is very low. It's lower than Olive Garden. It's much lower than Ruth's Chris, which is important. Our hiring is local, and we train those people so they can go on to higher paying jobs in the industry, and our quality is very good. It's not quite Ruth's Chris because of some of the substitutes we're using as ingredients, but it's a lot better than Olive Garden, and it's not even a question to compare it to McD's quality. Revenue streams. We estimate that we'll make approximately $15 per meal that we sell in our restaurant. And so that'll be the main revenue stream we have, people coming in to eat. We'll also be utilizing delivery for people who work really long hours and simply cannot make it to the restaurant or just want high quality food delivered to their door. And then we'll also be doing merchandise. We think that being part of the community in this way with community outreach and being a fine dining establishment that's local and that hires local, will be very involved with the families there, and we think that they'll be happy to wear our merchandise, which will also provide branding opportunities. Now, market potential. There's 1.3 million households in Los Angeles County, and we believe we can access the vast majority of them because we have affordable prices. So everyone can go there, high income, middle income, low income. It doesn't matter. Everyone can afford our restaurant and the experience. And that means we're available to every single person. Now, some of the high income people might opt for something like a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, but we think that the majority of people would opt for a cheaper fine dining experience. Now, in terms of the US as a whole, 83% of the US population, which is approximately 331 million, lives in or near an urban center, meaning that if we were to open new locations in urban centers around the country, we potentially be able to access a massive chunk of the US population. And this is very important to our market potential. Now, our cost structure. We believe we'll make about a 50% margin on meals sold in-house. The average meal should cost about $10 to make, and we'll sell it for about $15. Our biggest fixed cost is rent. We believe it'll be about $269,000 in rent for 3 years based on the potential locations in underserved areas in LA that we looked at. And then we estimated it'll be about $50,000 on kitchen equipment and machinery. So knives, plates, stoves, industrial grade refrigerators, all of that kind of thing. We estimate that it'll cost about $50,000 for our location. For resources, partners, and activities, our most important partner is going to be food suppliers. So we need to have a strong relationship with the people who are going to be supplying our food. And part of this goes with our most important activity. We touch on it with the bulk and data analysis, but it's purchasing food from those suppliers. We need to get the right amount of food. We need to get it for a good price. And a lot of that will come from our data analysis expert, who is a planned staff member. So we're going to be hiring someone to look over all of our data and give us a general idea of how much we should be buying in terms of bulk. And then our most important activity outside of that will be the hiring and training program, which enables us to have high quality chefs at a relatively low price before they move on to higher paying jobs. Now, our MVP plan, our minimum viable product, is a food truck, and we're going to locate it in different underserved neighborhoods around LA. And it'll be a food truck that essentially is a few of the meals that we'll be offering our full menu when we open the location. So it'll be a good test of if these underserved neighborhoods and low-income communities are interested in the kind of thing that we're trying to do, the high quality but low price experience. Then we're going to test out several different locations to see which neighborhoods are the most receptive to our MVP, which leads us to our 6-month goal. Firstly, we want a fully staffed and trained kitchen. At this point, we believe that we should have every single member of the kitchen staffed and trained at this point so we can have a fully operating restaurant. We want 2,000 or more monthly meals served in-house. It's approximately 70 meals a day or more. And then we want to have served 1,000 total meals minimum in our community outreach program. In order to reach these goals, we estimate that we need approximately $350,000 in startup capital. And we also need expert data analysis who will enable us to do a lot of the things that we need to do in order to run this restaurant as a viable business. If we are given these things, we believe that we can be the biggest restaurant chain in the United States because we are offering something that no one else is. High quality meals, low level price. We are PayLess Restaurants. Thank you.